is Dave Ashheim. I founded Engage by Sell about 15, 16 years or so ago. And we've really broadened our platform to help organizations with mobile in so many different ways. Max has been a big part of our company as well. So Max, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Max Shelkoff. I've been with Engage by Sell for several years now. It's been an awesome transition into all things mobile device-based engagement. So it's something that really hits home because we all have a mobile device at all times.
Yeah. And we all need these kinds of solutions, whether you pick Engage by Sell, but I think as you go through with us on this little journey through technology, you'll see there are so many different ways that you can engage with your audience, and you need a platform to do it. So that's one of the things that we provide. I mentioned we've been around a really long time, so we've evolved over time. Our company now is focused on organizations like training and HR. A lot of safety has come up in the last couple of years. A lot of folks I can see on the call today in the workforce development and the job training area. We have a real big presence in that. And we've been popular with museums and with charities for 10, 15 years as well. So mobile doesn't really fit into one specific bucket. So we will talk today about 7, 8, or 9 different use cases, and we'll go through them really quickly. And as I said, we'll try to end in about 25 minutes. Some of our clients range from very large organizations like American Cancer Society and Goodwill, of course. Everybody in the country knows about Goodwill. And U.S. Post Office, all the way down to little tiny organizations that are charities in a very local market. So there's no issue with if you're a small or large organization. We would love to talk to you about some of these tools, because the people you're engaging with are either employees or they're your customers, job seekers, visitors, maybe your customers of your product. And everybody's using their phone to engage these days, and it's not through email. So we're going to show you some examples of how to really grab onto some of these tools.
Yeah, perfect. And I think Anna, I don't know if we introduced Anna either. So Anna is running our slides today. Thank you, Anna. But yep, she was going to launch a little survey for us all to participate in and kind of learn about what everybody is interested in and how you can apply mobile technology. Dave, did the survey pop up for you?
Yep, I've got the survey. So everybody take 2 seconds and click a box. For all of you workforce folks, it's probably more in the other category.
Yep.
And then Anna, let's see what the results look like.
Excuse me. All right. Fundraising, marketing,
Nice.
events, absolutely. Employee communications is always huge, obviously. And let's see, a little bit of other sprinkled in there. I like it. Perfect.
Yeah, and it kind of mirrors what I was saying, Max, that it's just using text messaging and mobile sites. It's the use cases are so varied that for those of you working, I see Vicky's with community living. Vicky, you'll come up with 3 or 4 use cases that are very different than maybe Jason and Virginia Employment, but still it's all about I gotta shake my audience and get them to read my communication, and that's what mobile can do.
Yeah, and I think it's important to identify kind of the modern day challenges we're facing, right? And how we can use our tools, which is technology, at our disposal to facilitate those challenges, right? And I know everybody is facing the same challenge when you're looking to increase engagement as much as possible, Dave, and when you're utilizing email still is a primary means of communication. I mean, I'll pick on myself here a little bit. Let's look at my personal phone here. How many unread emails do I have, Dave? I have 10,231 unread emails from my personal email account. And that's going to be typical for most people, right? And you'll see I had 2 unread text messages from my mom who's texted me during this little call so far, but that's going to be very typical. So the challenge is, how do we engage people when they're not checking their email, they're not answering phone calls anymore? How do we reach them? And that's, how text messaging can facilitate that. And then really just getting information or resources or your marketing materials, whatever it might be, just getting that information into those people's hands, whether it's a form or a document intake or whatever the process is. It's all about streamlining and guaranteeing that those end users are going to get that information that you're sending to them, right? And then we'll discuss download barriers in more detail here in a little bit, but there's been kind of a used and abused version with native apps, right? So how do we crush that download barrier of breaking the traditional sense of I have to download something to get it in my end user's hand, right? And then right before we jumped on this, Dave, Anna, and I were just talking about TikTok, right? That's how everybody, all the youth demographic, and even sprinkled into some older folks as well, is all of these super short based videos are just decimating our attention span. It's rewiring us, right? So we all have these low attention spans where you have that little couple-minute window or even less to effectively deliver that information, make it digestible. And that's how we kind of leveraged our platforms to fulfill that need, right? And as I just mentioned a second ago, Dave, when I asked, how do we use these? Everybody has one. Every single person has a phone in their hand or in their pocket. And if they're asleep, it's probably next to their head. It's a part of us now. It's just an extension of who we are as a society, and how do we deploy those to include them in all these different use cases we're about to talk about.
And it's about the only way you can really guarantee communication. You can't just have a TikTok strategy, because the people that are 60 years old, they're not on TikTok. You can't be Facebook. You can't be, I was talking with a client the other day, they're sending out their corporate communication by Twitter. Well, not the whole world is on Twitter.
Right.
But everybody has a phone, and everybody is pretty comfortable these days with using text messaging and clicking a link and going to a mobile page. And that's kind of the heart of our company for all of you folks that are kind of new to Engage By Cell. That's our mantra. Get people on your list, send them a text, have them click a link, watch something, do something, fill out a form, take a poll, read, somehow engage. And just like Max said, it's going to take 30 seconds at most. So it's not this big corporate email. It's not this big whole thing I've got to do. It just melds right into the way I look at my TikTok or my Facebook or my Instagram. Oh, there's a text that came in from my employer or from the workforce development or a museum or a charity. I click, I watch a little video, I make a donation or whatever the action item is, and I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. As I mentioned at the top of the webinar, we have 2 solutions. They're very easy to understand, and we've been working these for 15 years. On the left, you see a text messaging platform. When you send out a text to your employees or your visitors or your audience through your phone, it's not very secure. Then everybody has your personal phone number. That goes away if you use a texting platform like ours. You can upload lists. People can scan a QR code to join a list, which we're going to do in a second. And it's all on this platform. And then we've coupled this with this mobile platform on the right side. We've found that if you just use texting, it gets a little thin after a while. But if you include a link to the agenda, to the event, to donate, to the tour, to the job fair, to something, all of a sudden people go, wow, that was like a very fulfilling 2 minutes interaction. And those are the 2 services that we offer up to our couple thousand clients. Max.
Yeah. So with texting, obviously, we're all very familiar with what a text message is, but we've really kind of broken it down into some separate capabilities here, Dave. And I'll just briefly buzz through them, but one being obviously inbound, right? So you're going to have folks that are going to text in to get information out. And what we've done is create keywords, right? So for example, with a workforce development, you can create a call to action to have something like text the word jobs to, blah, 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 blah. And they'll automatically get that text message back saying, hey, awesome. Click this link to view our job board, something along those lines. So, and you can set an infinite amount of these kind of keywords and call to actions. And also from an inbound capability, they kind of can text in and have a more long form conversation, like with our text chat, right? So text chat is very similar to like a instant messaging platform from the administrative side, but to the end user, it's just going to appear as having a normal conversation. Okay. So you have that capability to have some unique inbound kind of automated processes, and then also long form communication. And then outbound text obviously can be done from a one-on-one basis, like I just mentioned with text chat, but also hugely powerful tool is outbound texting from a mass communication standpoint, right? So how do I reach the 10, 20, 100, thousands people that are in my database with the click of a button? And this can be alerts about emergency situations, or, job fair notifications, or donation pushes for different campaigns and things like that. And then obviously MMS, it stands for multimedia messaging, and that is the capability to push out, that picture message that includes your flyer for your event you're hosting, or that coupon code, or whatever it might be, right? And so those are kind of the full suite, if you will, of all the various different kind of capabilities for the text messaging. And it's all housed within one platform, and that's our texting. Yeah.
And unlike email, where open rates are, I don't know, 18% to 30%, the open rates for texting, some people say it's 90, 95%. Just like Max said, I don't know how many unread messages you folks have, but probably it's not hundreds. When you get a text because you voluntarily opted in, you're interested in that topic. Maybe it is, we see here Jesse from Habitat for Humanity. If I'm a big supporter of Habitat for Humanity, I'd love to get a text a week about the good works that they're doing in the new home projects. Why wouldn't I? It'd be exciting. And then there could be a link to make a donation or a link to watch a video. All right, so that's the forms of the texting. Let's have everybody join our list. So everybody take out your phone, and you can either text in following the directions on the left, or we built a little fun way that you don't even need to text. You can just scan that code and press send message, and it's going to go. And then we have about 4 texts that Max and I and Ann are going to send out over the next 10 minutes. And I promise at the end, we'll delete everybody's phone number so you won't get peppered with any more text messages. So go ahead and send that off, and let us know in the chat window, what did you get back? Maybe somebody could just type out part of what they got back. Marina or Vicky or Jason or somebody, go ahead and tell us what you got back. And by the very nature that you texted in, you're now in this list. Right. Okay, Vicky, thank you for joining. Great.
Perfect.
So Vicky, you're now in the list along with everybody else. There it is. Karina, thanks so much. All right, so you saw, very easy to join a list. Or if you have people's phone numbers, you can upload that list. All right, so now that we're on this list, Max, we're going to take kind of a stroll through the various use cases.
Yep. We're going to talk about some mobile web apps real quick before we dive into super details, but I think the most important parts of the mobile web app here, Dave, one is just how do we increase that information accessibility for everybody as much as possible, right? And I think I mentioned earlier, it's just putting it in the palm of their hands, and we can get very, specific information, or as broad of information in the palm of their hand as quickly as possible by pairing it with that text messaging. So just imagine having a really slick, looks and feels like a native app, but it's just in a URL based. Big upside to that is, one, there is no hard download required. So just imagine that little bit.ly text message going out, or you're scanning the QR code. Two, there's no IT knowledge to build these, Dave, because you and I are not software engineers, right? And then three, all the information that you create is made live instantaneously. So there is no crazy web development process. And those are the three major aspects of why mobile web apps become such a powerful tool. Yeah.
All right. So let's go through some examples. All right. Use cases. I'll kick this one off and you can do the next one, Max. We have quite a few organizations that are .org. How great would it be that to stay in touch with your 200 or your 2,000 donors, not just by email, because you all know the open rates are not that great, but for those people that love your organization, let them join your text message list. And if you have their phone numbers, you can upload it. We can give you a little web widget that fits on the bottom of your website where they can type in their phone number, or there's a QR code. And the beautiful part is you're doing so many great things, but you feel as though I've got to wait for my quarterly or my monthly newsletter. If something great happens, and maybe you have a video of last night's concert or performance or your fundraising event, send that out in a link to your couple hundred of people that are on your list, and they'll go, whoa, that is just, it's such a personal way to communicate with folks. Anna's going to send everybody a text in just a second. You should be getting it in a minute here.
Got it.
Right. And if you click that link, that goes to kind of a sample charity site. But how pretty is that? And of course, everything you see, you can customize. And your donors would fill out this information. It can even go on a really nice thermometer. You've got a beautiful thermometer that you can have on your site. But it took 3 seconds for me to read it, click the link, and now I'm looking at a donation page. That just doesn't happen with email.
Yeah. My favorite part about the mobile donate, Dave, is you can literally build that page you're looking at for Henry's Children Foundation in an hour or two. Yeah. You know, it's a very simple process.
And then decide to send that out. All right. So next one. All right, Max, go ahead.
Yep. So same thing on the fundraising there. This is more highlighting some of the thermometer capabilities like Dave had shown on that Henry's Children's Foundation. But very simplistic. You can add the thermometer to kind of drive the campaign, the donation fundraising capabilities. But next use case, pretty please, Anna. So marketing, everybody markets, right? It doesn't matter if you're selling a product or a service, or you're in the public sector trying to get people into jobs and things like that. It's all about how do you gain as much exposure to your products and services as possible, right? And this can be used for reminders, for appointments or events you're having. We have a really fantastic mobile pass capability as well. So you can build in the actual ticketing aspect of your event as well. Or if you're a membership-based organization, you can have those. But just the ability to send text messages, and I personally am subscribed to several of them, and it's wonderful. I mean, I get my little weekly push of my 20% off or whatever it is, right? And I utilize it. And I think it's something that is growing more and more in marketing, including some sort of SMS campaign in that process. And it's like Dave mentioned earlier, you're never going to be able to beat out a 95% open read respond rate, right? If your primary means for marketing is still only email, that's like trying to fix your car with a hammer, right? You know, would I rather want to fix my car with one hammer, or would I rather have a bag of tools? You know, I would rather have my bag of tools. So it's incorporating all this technology that's at your disposal to just become that fully suited capability to reach your audience, I think is the strongest marketing case. And I think Anna has a little text just as an example she's going to fire out for marketing there. And I think it's going to have a coupon code for some back to school shopping. And that will just kind of give you an idea whether you're retail or, again, a membership based or whatever kind of organization you are. This is a really powerful tool to get those promotions or that information in your end users' hands.
All right, great. On the event side, all of us either have job fairs or fundraising events or some kind of training sessions. How great would it be that you send people a text with the link possibly to what you see on the page, the fall conference or the open enrollment or some event or something that you want me to register for? You do that through email, and once again, your opt-in rate is not going to be very high. You do that through a text, and it really encourages people to come to your events. We work with a lot of Chamber of Commerce, Max, and before every meeting, the day before, 2 hours before, they'll send out a text message saying, "Don't forget," because it's so easy to forget. It's just like, "Don't forget your dental appointment tomorrow morning." Thank goodness I got another one in the morning to remind me about my dental appointment. So
100%.
um, every person probably on the call today has events, internal or external, and it's just great. You can set these text messages up far in advance, pick your list, pick your time and your date, and set it and kind of forget it.
Exactly.
Okay. Great.
All right. This is the exciting one. I love this one, Dave. So I'm very big on the kind of visitor experience, right? So that's something I'm pretty passionate about. And this is a really amazing, phenomenal kind of combination tool that we have through texting and mobile web app. And the really unique and phenomenal tool that we've included in this mobile web app is guided GPS tours, right? So you can have an entire map. So imagine if you walk into an amusement park or a large garden, botanical garden, nature center, museum, whatever it is, right? Any kind of facility that you're walking into, and they had the ability to give you a QR code. Boom, you scan that QR code, and there's this wonderful, beautiful map. And within that map and the mobile web app itself, you can have smartphone tours, you can have scavenger hunts, you can have all kinds of little interesting and cool engagement tools for that end user, right? And if you scan this QR code right there, and I think Anna might be pushing out a text for it as well, but it will take you to visit Salem, Massachusetts. And on that little GPS map there, it highlights all the really interesting kind of main points of historical places within Salem, right? So I think it's all just about creating that ease of access for navigating, for one, and then highlighting all your amazing little points of interest that might get neglected, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, Dave, you're a museum buff, and
Mm-hmm.
I know many folks like yourself going to a museum. And if you've been to 2 or 3 that day, you might miss the one that you should have been paying attention to. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the happenstance for them all the time. So it's really about engaging with the visitor as much as possible, providing that awesome navigation tool, and then highlighting all of your points of interest, engaging through little quizzes, polls, scavenger hunts, whatever it might be. But pretty simple tool there.
And all the content that's relevant to me is now on my phone, whether it's internal training or it's a tour of Salem. I don't need
Yep.
the whole big 3-ring binder. I don't need to go to try to find that PDF. I don't even know where that PDF is, but I can click this little link and there's a list of all the documents, all the material I need that's relative to where I am.
100%. Yeah. All right.
Emergencies and safety. I think every company that's on this call, if you've got 25 to 50 people or more in your facility, you should have some way that a text message can go out to everybody that there's some kind of emergency or there's a weather alert or whatever it happens to be. So we call it kind of the text message insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of our clients that are big manufacturing facilities, they'll actually put all their training materials, procedures, hazard reporting on a mobile site because
Mm-hmm.
people that are operating a forklift or a truck driver, they don't have access to this stuff, but now it can be accessed and it can be changed on the fly by you folks on the administration side.
And I think it's important to note with the safety aspects of things, we have a platform called Express SMS. And as we all know, in emergency related situations, time is always of the essence, right? So it's all about speed and fast. And we have a cool platform that enables, with literally like 2 clicks of a button, you can push out a text message to all the employees, like Dave just mentioned. And Anna just sent out a sample, weather alert, tornado, or if it's a fire, earthquake, whatever, any kind of natural disaster or anything like that. In a moment's notice, within 30 seconds to a minute, you can put the notification in every single employee's hand. And then on the flip side, they can respond back and let you know if they're safe or not. And that aspect's huge in an emergency situation. If you're looking around, hey, is Dave safe? Where's Dave? Dave has already responded that I'm safe. So you can kind of generate that list of, okay, everybody's good. And it's that peace of mind, like Dave said. It's an insurance policy. Hopefully you never have to use it, but when the time comes, you want to have it,
All right. A couple more, then we'll open it up for questions. And by the way, as we're going through this, if you have questions about text messaging and short codes and list management or any of these things, just please toss them in the chat window and Max and I will cover them. 2 of our more popular use cases is to use the texting for HR and or training. Open enrollment, onboarding, company news. How great would that be to be able to send that off to everybody in your workforce, not just those that are sitting at a computer that happen to have an email account. And on the training side, you can use the mobile site to store all of your training material and then use the text messaging. A lot of our trainers call it drip learning, to extend that training over a series of several months instead of kind of the knowledge stopping after the course is over.
The big hot keyword right now in the training, Dave, is that micro learning, right?
Yeah.
Drip training, micro learning. It's all about those little tidbit, digestible 5-10 minute learning sessions. Like many of our customers have a huge mobile workforce nowadays, right? Not everybody is sitting at a computer or desk all day long. And just the ease and the convenience of receiving that text message, and it says, hey, Max, don't forget to click this link and watch your 5-minute training video by Friday. And that's, utilized by tons and tons and tons of our customers.
Max, we've got a question that came into the panelist. What are the tips to collect cell phone numbers to start the text list?
Absolutely. So there's many different ways. One being the keywords that I talked about earlier, right? So you can create an infinite amount of keywords, which is really just a call to action. Okay.
Right.
So with those keywords, they're also going to have a corresponding QR code like we've all scanned today. And so just gaining as much exposure as you possibly can to those QR codes and those call to actions. You can include it on your website. I've seen many of our customers put it in their email signatures, put it on the back of t-shirts. If it's a job fair, some kind of fun, engaging event, we've even had customers get very creative with it. Those little kind of crazy, wacky cookies that you can have like laser frosting printed on it with somebody's face. But I've seen those QR codes go on top of those. I see Anna just answered candy wrappers. So making an incentive for all your employees, make it fun. One of our customers, very large customer, put that QR code on a custom little candy bar wrapper, and distribute it to everybody, put it in break rooms. And our system also has a very easy input. What's the word I'm saying here? You can upload the list very easy. So if you already have existing databases, you can super simply, very quickly upload them into our system as well. It's just an Excel spreadsheet, column A, B, and C. Throw that right in there. And we have some web opt-in capabilities that you can put a little web widget on your existing website where people can fill out their information, and that will automatically populate them into lists. So a lot of different ways. And we have a whole team of staff dedicated to just coaching you through these processes as well, to ensure you're, having the most success with the platforms.
And there are certain circumstances where you can probably feel good about uploading a list. Let's say it's a senior management team, or when people join your company, they can text in and automatically join that list because it's part of the onboarding process. So
Yeah.
our system allows you to upload a list. You just want to make sure that everybody wants to be on that list.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
Here's just some examples of
Mm-hmm.
some of the HR and training. Plumbing and Heating Wholesale Inc. is one of our customers, and there's just super common use cases. You can see some of their home screen icons for accident reporting. They've linked out some LMS capabilities, and that's another great thing to highlight about the mobile web app. If you have all these wonderful resources for your employees, whether it be an LMS or whatever it might be, you can really become, or the mobile web app can really become just kind of a centralized hub for these resources as well. All your existing things aren't going to be neglected. They're going to be highlighted, and the accessibility is just going to be that much easier for them. And then some obvious examples of some text messages there.
Yeah, and these are real text messages that P&H has sent. All right. So the cost, Max, how do you gauge what's the low end of what a texting platform could cost, for example?
Yeah, I mean, Express SMS platform can start out at 500 to $1,000 a year, depending on engagement size, and then obviously so on and so forth. We kind of discussed how we have customers. I have a customer, and the company has, I think, 5 full-time employees, right? All the way up to the United States Postal Service, that we all know is an enormous entity, and it's very scalable, just based upon your engagement levels, right? I mean, it's just going to be based upon how many people, what you're utilizing it for, and things like that. But don't be afraid that, oh, this isn't going to fit into our budget or anything like that. We can make plans for everybody, is essentially what the process looks like.
Yeah, it's great. Getting started, all you'd have to do is have a chat with Max and myself. We can get your team on a call. We can do a Zoom demo. We can just have a conversation. We can set you up with an account. You can play with it, and it's a couple of days to get started. So this is not a heavy lift. It's not a long-term training. We've made the texting so easy that within a day or two, you've got your text messages written out and it's ready to go. So this is not a big thing to get started. So
yeah,
that finishes our slides. Before we break, any more questions from those of us on the call? Anything about texting or the mobile platform or how to use it? Or if any of you would like to have another conversation, go ahead and in the chat window, just mention that. And Max will, or Anna will contact you folks. We will send this recording out and the slides out probably tomorrow as well. And we'll include a little link to a form where you can fill that out if you want more info. Yeah, we're going to send out the recording, Jesse.
Absolutely.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. And hopefully you learned something about text messaging and mobile sites. And if it rang a bell with you, let us know and we'll follow up with you. But thanks, everybody. Thanks, Karina, Jason,
Perfect.
everybody. All righty.
Have a good holiday
Bye.
week next week, everybody.